Welcome back to Sunrise, everyone. There's some unwelcome news for struggling Australian households this morning, with our Prime Minister ruling out cash handouts, despite the cost of living remaining painfully high. Anthony Albanese argues any extra help will only make inflation worse. The PM says he understands cost of living is the #1 pressure for families and is committed to providing responsible relief. Joining me now is columnist Susie O'Brien and host of Triple M's Night Shift, Luke Boner. Good morning to both of you. Susie, so the PM says financial assistance would actually make inflation worse. You reckon he has a point?
Well, I think a lot of people do want to see continued handouts from this government. I mean, they were elected on a platform of, practical assistance for low-income families. But at the same time, we also want governments to be in surplus. Look at the mess that Victoria's in, with our huge debt that's going to take 3 generations to pay off. Now, Albanese is saying this is all about self-reliance and resilience for the government. But you know what? Self-reliance does not pay the gas bill. And I think a lot of people will be wanting continued handouts in a measured, targeted way from this government.
Yeah, Luke, it's really hard because we've just heard this week a warning that interest rates are probably going to have to rise another 1 or 2 or possibly more percentage points. So if we keep putting money into the economy, isn't that going to make us have more hits?
Well, that's right. That's how it works. If you give people more money, they're going to spend. And look, we're just a few weeks out from Christmas when we're being asked over and over and over to spend, and that's going to add to inflation. However, ask yourself this question, and I wonder what our viewers this morning think. Should a government be sitting on a surplus, which is our money, or is that money there to help look after the taxpayers that put it there? Now, you ask any economist, they're going to say, nah, live within your means, hang on to the money, pay off the $1 trillion debt that we're in. But you tell that to people who can't afford Christmas presents, and they don't know where they're going to put how they're going to put a meal on the table. They don't know if they're going to be living under that roof that they're under now in 12 months' time, when interest rates probably do go up next Tuesday. So, what's a surplus for? Is it there to help the taxpayers that put it there? Or do you do the economical responsible thing and start paying off your $1 trillion debt? A debt, by the way, this government contributed to back in the day with Julia Gillard, Kevin Rudd and the world's best treasurer at the time, Wayne Swan.
Yeah, I know. It's a really tough one because, a lot of people want handouts and they want help. They want the fuel price to go down, but, economists are saying that's not going to help with inflation.
Exactly, and there's a lot of pressure to get rid of or to halve the fuel excise again. Well, that's going to leave another huge hole in the budget, isn't it? So where's that money going to come from? Yep.
Yeah, and then we'll end up in this spiral. Moving on, residents in South Australia are outraged this morning over a new rubbish disposal model. The state's Green Industries Department is studying the idea of a pay-as-you-throw-away system, which would lower council rates on households but increase charges with each kilo of rubbish residents put out for the collection. Susie, what do you think of this?
Well, I think this bin tax is absolute rubbish, Nat. I mean, they're saying it's a tax on nappies. It's also a tax on larger families. I mean, families like mine, we're a blended family. We've got up to 7 people some parts of the week. And we've got more rubbish than our tiny little bin can handle. And it's really only thanks to our lovely next-door neighbour, Kay, who lives by herself, thanks, Kay, that we can even manage our rubbish because we use her bin as well. So, all this goodwill is going to go out the window when you've got tax on individual households or people paying more the more they throw out. It's just ludicrous. It doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah, Luke, they are calling it the nappy tax because, families, people with more families with more people in them are going to have to pay more. Do you think that's fair?
Susie, I agree with you on this one. It is absolute rubbish. And you know what this is going to lead to? It happened when they put our tipping fees up at our local tip. People started dumping rubbish out in the countryside. And this is going to cause rage within neighbourhoods because people are going to start putting their rubbish in other people's bins. Let me ask you this. What are you paying your rates for? Come on. Give us our rubbish. People are responsible now. We recycle better than we ever did before. Leave us alone. Collect the rubbish and do what we pay you to do, for God's sake.
Yeah, imagine putting your rubbish in someone else's bin. Who's ever done that before? Maybe once or twice. No one? Yeah, me. Yeah. Okay, it must just be me. Thank you. See you guys. See you next week.
See ya.